Welcome. We're having another interview today with Brian Leithead. Brian, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you currently do?
Yeah, thanks, Roberto. My name is Brian Leithead, like he had previously. I am currently a web developer for copsplus.com. We're actually a retail site that specializes in like police wholesaling and quotes. Um, but I also do IT consulting on the side, kind of similar to how most salespeople start off. I'm kind of just within family and friends right now, but working to more being a full time IT consulting position.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how you started your career in IT?
Yeah, it actually started during the pandemic. I was doing like loan processing for mortgage companies, which is very tech driven industry, and I just kind of got very interested in working with kind of behind the scenes, like in Wizard of Oz, kind of pulling the curtain back a little bit. So um, my obsession kind of started there, but my actual career didn't start until about 2 years ago when I started working here at my current job as a data analyst. And I was actually going to school at night to become a web developer. So I'm kind of well rounded as far as data skills and web development and back end technology. So, um, kind of my long winded answer is, it started about 2 years ago.
How did you make the decision to go for like a boot camp versus some other avenue or trying to learn it by yourself?
Yeah, so I actually have an associate's in nursing, obviously not IT related, but I just felt that I wanted to jump in kind of feet first into the IT career, and I felt that the boot camp versus going to a traditional college, not that I have any issues with anyone who goes there or doing it myself, it's just I wanted to be done as quickly as, or get into the industry as quickly as possible.
Now, you're in an interesting position right now. You're kind of in a transition period. So it's not like you have to think very hard about, you know, what was that like? So what kind of has led you to want to work for yourself?
Great question, Roberto. I kind of like working on my own. I mean, I love working with teams, but I love bringing my own personal flair and to each client that I want to talk to. I can't necessarily do that while working for someone else. I want to be able to kind of just let my own personality uniquely uh, connect with every client and build them whatever they need or consult on whatever they need from start to finish.
What are some of the challenges that you're currently facing trying to make this transition?
Yeah, just kind of more on the business end of things, and obviously just having leads or just kind of that business. I have again I kind of have like a small pipeline of family and friends that I'm working with on just individual products, but just kind of growing the business is kind of what I lack, and that's like my biggest challenge currently right now.
Is there anything that you have kind of leaned on, or anything like a maybe a book or a course, or somebody else to help you navigate making this transition?
Yeah, I actually have a mentor. He was actually my teacher at my boot camp. He was a senior developer, was recently laid off, but he's actually kind of doing an IT consulting position. But he has, he's doing YouTube tutorials, and he's just in business for himself now. He wants to help grow junior developers at very little cost to get into the industry, but he also wants to get into that consulting position because he just wants to be his own boss. So I'm kind of the same way where I want to call the shots, but I also want to help people grow their business, grow their career, and just make them the best version of themselves, but also so that they can deliver the best product.
Now, I don't know if you've thought about this, but what's one thing that you want your consultancy to be different than everybody else?
I want to be there from the start to the end. Now, obviously, every consultant is kind of that, but what really maybe drives or makes me different is that I'm going to be the one who's calling you to make sure that what we're doing is correct and on pace, and just having upfront communication. so I don't have to make these calls or whatever to you later. I want to be upfront as possible, and just use my great communication skills that these the soft skills that they don't necessarily teach you, and that you kind of have to just grow or maybe naturally have, um, to be there for my clients.
Did I read correctly in one of your posts that you do stand-up comedy?
Yeah, yeah, I did that when I was in my. So I'm 34 now. I did that in my early 20s, and just like coding or consulting, really anytime that you go in for business with yourself, it's something that you have to work at. It's not something you're just going to come in and be great day one. There are people who can do that. Don't get me wrong, but for me, I didn't understand coding or any sort of technology just right away. And I also didn't understand comedy. Just because I was the funny person in the lunchroom doesn't mean that I was, gonna go on stage and just automatically crush it. It was definitely a learning experience and taught me a lot about work ethic.
Yeah, that's very unique. I've met a lot of developers who have come from all kinds of backgrounds, but I don't think I've ever met anybody that did comedy before. So yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I guess that sets me. Maybe that's something I should use in my marketing skills or something.
Yeah, you'll make them laugh and create a great website.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, that's the plan.
Now, what's something that you would tell somebody who is trying to get into the IT industry?
Do all of the front loading before you begin. And what I mean by that is do all of the research on what you want to go into and what you want to specialize. So whether you're going to a 4 year or 4 year university or a boot camp, or just being a self-taught person, make sure you research, like, if you want to do back end, front end, data analysis, or all of the above, and make sure that you want to do it. Make sure that you're obsessed with it, because if you lose any sort of passion for it during the process and you don't have that drive to keep going, it's not going to be for you. Long story short, I would say hard work and just know what you're getting yourself into.
Now, you mentioned before that when you started getting into it, what was the most challenging thing with kind of learning programming and getting into that work?
Like I said before, I have an associate's in nursing or science, so a lot of that is just kind of memorization. Whereas with programming and really even data analysis too, it's keystrokes, it's muscle memory. That was hard for me to make a transition, because it wasn't just like, I can memorize what a heart does. I can tell you what sort of veins are in your hands, but or if you were to ask me at the beginning of before I was programming, if what the difference between var, let, and constar, couldn't even tell you. I might not even be able to tell you today, if I'm being honest. But um, yeah, it was just kind of rewiring my brain a little bit to understand that, like, you have to practice every day and kind of understand the fundamentals in order to be great or be better and willing to learn.
What was one thing that you really enjoyed about doing a boot camp?
It was the challenge of coding, but also at the pace of a boot camp, because it was a lot of information was coming at you at one time, and it wasn't like you just had. Again, it's kind of on the memorization side that I talked about earlier. It's like it would go in one ear, and then it would go out the other, and then I would have to kind of plunge it back into my brain for it to stick. So I would have to spend a lot of time outside of the boot camp studying to make sure that what was taught to me stuck. So just taking those extra steps to ensure that my most difficult challenges in the boot camp stuck.
Is there anything else that you would like to say about your journey, either IT or now going into consulting?
Yeah, I'm 34 now. I didn't decide what I wanted to do until I was 30, so it's never too late to decide what you want to do. You can be a senior, you can be a junior developer for however long you want. Um, I'm a person who likes money. I like having money, so I'm kind of a sick person. Have a consulting job on the side. Um, but yeah, it's never too late, and just work hard at it and you can do whatever you want in IT. If I'm being honest, that's what I love about it.
How can people reach out to you if they want to get in contact with you?
So my primary contact right now is just on LinkedIn. It's LinkedIn dot I'm sorry, LinkedIn.com/in/KEKUHA1. It's my I don't want to say hacker name. It was just my screen name that I've had since I was a kid. I'm part Hawaiian, so and then also my email. You can contact me kekuha1@gmail.com. Currently working on my portfolio site that will be go live here shortly. But make sure to follow me on LinkedIn. I will make that update.
All right, I'll make sure to put the those that link and your email in the description so people can reach out to you. And again, thank you for being willing to participate in this interview and just let people know what it's like to be, in the IT industry and making that transition into consulting.
Yeah, thank you, Roberto, for having me on this amazing platform. It was I had a great time.